What's going on, sports fans? The Sports Arena going live in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon. We're going to get the crew right in. We got my man Eric Wilson. We got Bryce joining us, and we got Jake Christner joining us. So the news just broke. The Green Bay Packers have offered Aaron Rodgers $200 million over 4 years, and apparently he has agreed. This is in the moment. Eric, talk to me.
I mean, to say I'm surprised or shocked would be an understatement. We know the value of Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, 4 years, $200 million, 153 of that is guaranteed money. Listen, you only got one Super Bowl to your credit. You need to come away with at least two more to make this contract even viable.
So I'm gonna kick it down to Bryce. Now with Eric, I know who his Legion started teams. I don't know who your team is. I don't know who you like and don't like. Again, real time reaction. What's your first thoughts upon hearing this, sir?
I'm actually not surprised. I think ever since last year when this whole situation with Aaron Rodgers happened, Green Bay's been in this. We're trying to appease you. We're sorry. They don't leave us. And I think today was just an aberration of that, where they just said, "All right, we'll make you the highest paid quarterback." 4 years. I don't know if this is a contract that he'll actually do 4 years, and maybe one of those we're just going to give you the years, the money, just to know if you want to play 4 more years, you have it. But overall, they just want to make sure, hey, we're willing to do what we need. We're willing to do anything we need to keep you in Green Bay. And now he's getting paid as the highest paid quarterback. But now the question is, how does this affect the rest of the team? Especially like Eric said, he has to win at least 2 more Super Bowls to make this contract worth it, or else it was just wasted money and Green Bay just overstretched here.
Jake, I hope you are as entertaining live as you are in comments on Facebook. Talk to me, your reaction upon hearing this monstrous deal that Aaron Rodgers apparently is going to sign.
Oh, I'm laughing at Packers fans right now, because for about 3 or 4 years now, the amount of time that Jordan Love has been there, I've been telling him he's not going to win a single solitary game for him. The absolute most wasted pick in the history of life. But the biggest thing is now you're going to be tagging Devontae. Hello?
Go ahead. We got you. Am I tripping or is he muted?
No, I think he's muted. I think we lost him.
Hey, just Jacob, go out and re-click the link and come back in. Your audio is not coming through for whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, I'll piggyback off that because he makes a very valid point. You know, you're going to tag Devontae Adams. And now it's a question of, as Bryce said, you have a limited amount of money to spend on the rest of this team. And for a guy who has been in the league for, we're going on 12, 13 years, no, longer than that. You have one Super Bowl to your credit. Okay. You can't beat San Francisco. Doesn't matter whether it's the regular season or the postseason. Lambeau is not the mystique that it once was, where people used to fear going to Lambeau in January. It was pretty much written in the stars that if you had to go play in Lambeau in January, you needed to spend like 2 weeks in there just to get used to the temperature and then to go out there and try and play, So am I surprised by this? No, because I look at it like this. This was one of those moments, and the analogy that I like to use is, this was the girl that you have always wanted, and she kind of messed with you a little bit, and y'all hung out a couple times, went on a couple dates, but there was nothing serious. And then you finally said, damn it, let me get on one knee and make her mine. And that is what the Green Bay Packers organization has done to Aaron Rodgers.
Let me get Jake back in here. Let's see if he got these technical difficulties figured out. Can we get you, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you.
All right, good. No, the thing was, I'm laughing right now because I like to be able to. I'll just say this: I'm a Bears fan, but this doesn't have anything to do with what I'm saying. Aaron Rodgers is one of the all-time greats, but this is the issue. This is one of the issues that we have is the fact that now they're going to have to tag Devontae Adams again. And then I was laughing at the Packers fans because I told them years ago that Love will not win a single solitary game for him. Jordan Love. Now you're going to be getting rid of him, and it was a wasted pick. Now you're going to have a guy like Aaron Rodgers who won't be like Tom Brady when he gets into his 40s. He's going to fade out, and then you're going to pay that money. And see, unlike Brady, you're not going to have to pay so much like you would with Rodgers. Brady always cut down his contract so other buddies could get paid. Rodgers will not do that. That's a huge deal. So one of the things right now is the fact that are they going to be able to afford an offensive line for him? This is going to be kind of like a James Harden situation where it's beautiful in the regular season and a bomb in the playoffs. It's going to be 4 more years of that. And that's the thing. We have to look at these situations. And yeah, you know what I mean, Bryce.
So I think the underrated part of this deal that nobody's talking about, I haven't read the specifics of the contract, but one of the things I saw in the report was somehow they're pulling it off to where their cap number's going down with this deal. Their cap number's going down. So when we say, they may or may not be able to sign whoever, I'm almost 100% sure at the very least they're going to tag Devontae Adams, right?
Oh, that's a foregone. Yeah.
So they're going to tag him. But they might have freed up some money in the interim. They freed up some money for this season. So the deal is probably top heavy on the back couple of years, right? So in the interim, that team has to feel like, man, we're a bad weather game away from going to the NFC Championship game, right? Aaron Rodgers, again, like we said on last night's show, 2-time reigning MVP. He's still playing at a high level. They're looking at this team and feeling like we have the opportunity to compete at a very high level. If we let him walk out the door, they clearly know something that none of the rest of the fans know, and Jake has clearly known for years, that Jordan Love is not the answer, right? So what do you do when you have the 2-time back-to-back reigning MVP right here for the taking, and he's your guy. He's always been your guy, right? Do you just let him walk away, or do you say we're going to pay him whatever it takes? And I've always told people we can't underrate the business aspect of it either. As long as 12 is under center, you're going to pack the stands. So they're going to get a return on their investment. It's just a matter of now everybody's going to rate this move based off whether or not they win a Super Bowl. But I think they had no choice but to offer him whatever it is he wanted. And again, to be able to do it and lower their cap right now, win-win for everybody.
Well, Ray, one thing I always say to fans, always, is the fact that it can always get worse. That there's people I tell a lot of fans emotional nitwits, because in the absolute moment, they say the stupidest things and think the stupidest things. And like when the Packers lost last year, there were ones that wanted to get a brand new quarterback. They wanted to get brand new everything. You know what I'm saying? You're there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, technical difficulty again. I'm sorry. But no, they wanted to be able to get everything gone. They wanted to rebuild everything just because they had a bad time in the bad weather of last year like they do in most of the years. But I always say this with fans, it can always get worse. And with Aaron Rodgers, it's not really ever going to get worse. He's an all-time great. He's an all-time great. What will they do in the playoffs? They're going to need a lot more help. But the one thing I take away from this $200 million is now there's a lot more quarterbacks who get a lot bigger bags. I mean, all the free agents, everything are getting paid right now. It just changed the market.
Well, if we're talking changing the market, Patrick Mahomes did that already, right?
True, but I'm saying for this year. I just meant for this year.
Yeah. So Bryce, I'm gonna come to you. What does this mean for the rest of the NFL? We know how the snowball effect works. Jake just touched on when one person gets paid, now everybody else behind them gets paid. But now we have to talk about all of these quarterback destinations. Everybody's talking about Denver. Everybody's talking about Pittsburgh. Everybody's talking about Washington. These teams in search of a quarterback. And the two names at the top of that list were Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. And every once in a while, people throw in Deshaun Watson's name. Now Aaron Rodgers is off the market. So what does that mean? How does this snowball effect play out now?
I think it'll be interesting just because, you still have a lot of teams who need a quarterback. I think this is one of the more quarterback needy off seasons we've maybe had in a minute. A lot of guys looking for their predecessors. A lot of people are looking maybe to start building towards the future. And obviously some teams are like, we feel like if we get a quarterback in here, we can compete immediately. Russell, I think we feel like is pretty much going to stay. Deshaun obviously is going to depend on his legal situation. So now you're getting into the next tier of guys. You're hearing Mitchell Trubisky's name a lot. A lot of people feel like, especially after seeing what happened with Chicago, Nagy held him back. So maybe how good could he be with a better coach? Could he be as serviceable? Remember, he has a winning record still in his career. Can't take that away from him. I've heard, even I'm a Falcons fan. I've heard my quarterback even mentioned. I saw some betting odds that they think he's the next Commanders quarterback. I've not heard anything actually on that front, but that's something that I guess could potentially be asked because, they did call every team and ask about their quarterback situation. So, and with the NFL drafts quarterbacks this year not really being, highly touted, it is kind of a situation right now where with this big contract, outside of guys locking up their guys because they're like, listen, you see the quarterback landscape, it's very scarce right now. We got to lock our guy up if we have it. The other teams that aren't looking for it are trying to figure out, okay, do we have to take a tier 2, tier 3 guy this year, just get through the year, draft maybe one of these guys that are in the draft this year, try to develop. Do you tank? Obviously, we're going to have tank discussion for Bryce Young next year. These are all questions that I think we're going to see how it's answered over the next few years, over the next year and a half, because right now, in terms of the quarterback need and the actual quarterback availability, it's not matching up. And so it'll be interesting to see what teams do to try to fill that hole while, they can't get that premium, but still want to field a competitive team this year.
So I'm coming over to you, Eric. We saw the last 2 seasons, teams brought in a quarterback, and in his first year with the team, that team won the Super Bowl. We saw it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We saw it with the Los Angeles Rams, right? So with Aaron Rodgers presumably on the market this summer, a whole lot of teams thought they were going to be able to go do the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. And with Bryce saying he thinks Russell Wilson stays put, if Russell Wilson stays put, and now Aaron Rodgers has signed, will this be a whole lot of fools go? Like, that's all we've talked about for the past 2 months is all these quarterback openings. If you can't get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, what difference does it really make? So will this be a whole lot of media hype for nothing, or will we see one of these big names move, Eric?
I think the fact that the biggest name on the market has officially re-signed with his team, and then, the talks, there's always talks going to be about Seattle. We're always going to wonder, is Russ staying? Is Russ going? That is just the common conversation, the one around the water cooler, if you will. I don't know if, in fact, he is going to, any of these other quarterbacks are going to be on the move, because think about it like this. And Bryce hit the nail on the head with regard to Deshaun Watson. We still don't know what the legal ramifications are going to be for him. So in my opinion, and this is just me, his best bet is to just keep collecting money and fly under the radar until he gets his legal troubles situated and figured out. Until that happens, stay where you at. Okay. I know you don't want to play in Houston. I know Houston is not your spot, but anywhere that he goes outside of Houston currently, there is going to be a media frenzy. And a lot of teams, a lot of owners, they don't want that. Denver still needs a quarterback. We still have to find one. We don't know what New Orleans is going to do. There's a name for you. Is Matt Ryan potentially on the move in Atlanta? Well, you don't have Calvin Ridley, so maybe you can get yourself a couple young receivers, and maybe Matt Ryan's got enough in the tank, because right now the NFC South is open. Think about it like this. Look at all the current quarterbacks in the NFC South. Matt Ryan's the best one. So if I'm him, I'm like, okay, well, this is our year to, at the very least, win our division and secure a playoff spot, because someone's got to come out of that division. So, man, I don't think any of these, I think it's going to be a lot of media hype. I think it's going to be a lot of just, they're going to be scrolling across the bottom. So-and-so got traded to this team. And where we're at right now, I can honestly say we're going to be there come September.
So that is a perfect segue. Eric says Denver still needs a quarterback. And I don't know this gentleman personally, John Meisick, but by the look at his hat he's wearing,
Lord.
we're going to get the two opposite ends of the spectrum on this reaction. With this Denver Broncos hat, I knew they thought they were in the running. And then we're going to get the happiest member of the Sideline sports team in the building. I know he's a happy man right now. John, I'm assuming with the hat, the background. I'm assuming the Denver Broncos had to feel like they were in the running. A solid defense. You got Melvin Gordon. You got that running game. You have some young receiver weapons, and a lot of people felt like Teddy B not really the guy, but people thought Denver was a quarterback away from being a very legit team, and most had Aaron Rodgers at the top of your wish list. Your immediate thoughts upon hearing the news that Aaron Rodgers has agreed to a new deal?
It's interesting. I'm actually glad that he's back in Green Bay, and I'm different. I would say I'm a little bit more different from the normal Broncos fans with this. That top-ranked defense, they played against weak competition with the Giants, the Jets, Jaguars, Lions, the Washington Commanders now. It's just like they played against weak competition. Next year, we have the NFC West. It could be either Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray. Who knows if Russell Wilson's going to stay in Seattle? So that's going to be tested. That number one defense is going to be very tested. And we have a bunch of holes in that defense too. Our 3 starting middle linebackers are free agents. Our 3 starting secondary players are free agents. We need help on the pass rusher. The offensive line has been up and down. And they put too much demand on their quarterbacks. When our run game is all right. Our run game is better than what most people give. They just put too much demand on the quarterback position. Like they're Peyton Manning. And that's why we had to go through this rotation of quarterbacks every single year.
So let's get the happiest man in the world right now. Among the Sideline Sports team, we're going to get Tyler Ingram in here. As a matter of fact, sir, we're going to make it special for you. Talk to us.
Yeah, so I'm a happy camper, as you guys know. The big reason why is that a lot of people keep asking about this cap situation and how we can get it done. Well, it's 153 million guaranteed, so most of that signing bonus is prorated over the course of the contract. So it's about to be 38.3 million. His cap hit this year was going to be roughly around 46 million. So this spreads all the money out. This allows you to bring Devontae Adams back, and he's franchise tag. I also, on the gauntlet this week, we had a free agency preview, and I was talking about the Packers and how they can get under the cap. And they've been doing this by restructuring deals, and they're looking at extending Amos right now too to help out their cap situation too. But restructuring David Bakhtiari, restructuring Aaron Jones, restructuring Kenny Clark, that helped them. And then now, if Zadarius Smith leaves, that frees up $15.28 million. Billy Turner leaving frees up $3.36 million. Dean Lowry leaving frees up $4.08 million. So they're fine with the money situation. Now, if you're a Packers fan, you got to look at it as this linebacker position is going to be super, super thin. So in the draft, they got to go out there and they got to get linebackers and they got to get defensive linemen in order to kind of bolster this defense. But as far as the situation goes, I'm a happy camper because, the best position the Packers can be in to win football games is to have Aaron Rodgers come back. And yes, they have choked in the playoffs the past few years, but this team has won 13 games, 3 straight seasons with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. So of course you want to bring them back. Of course you want to bring Adams back. And now you just need to go and you guys need to hit it hard in the NFL draft for sure.
So when we look at the landscape of the NFL, and I said this last night on the Sports Arena, right? This past season, the past couple of seasons, all the old talented quarterbacks, right, were in the AFC. I mean, in the NFC. You had Brady, you had Rodgers, you had Stafford, you have Matt Ryan, you have Russell Wilson, right? All the young talented guys are over there in the AFC. Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Herbert, Burrow. So now Aaron Rodgers stays put, and he doesn't have to deal with any of those guys, right?
Right.
The exception of what does this mean for Green Bay for the next couple of years? Are they now, if not the prohibitive favorites, right, alongside the Rams, one of the favorites for the foreseeable future in the NFC? Talk to me, Eric.
Oh, clearly they are. I mean, right now in the NFC, let's take those 16 teams. If you go down the list of just at the quarterback position, number 1 is going to be Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. Number 2, as a second, I have to say, because of what he just did, is going to be Matthew Stafford.
Say it again.
Number 2 behind Aaron Rodgers is Matthew Stafford. So I say that to say, and listen, no disrespect to Jimmy G, no disrespect to Russell Wilson, no disrespect to Dak Prescott. But we are talking about guys right now who have the capability to not only win, but be an odds-on proverbial favorite. And we haven't even gotten to the draft yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We haven't even got to, what's going to, once the schedule is released and we see how these games line up, then we can kind of have a better understanding. But I mean, right now it is Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFC. You switch it over to the AFC, and like you said, laundry list of at least 6 or 7 quarterbacks who are
Chiefs,
either
Chargers,
the present
Titans,
and or the
Bengals,
future.
Ravens, Bills, Patriots.
Yeah. I mean,
Colts.
I'm not throwing the Patriots in there. I'm not throwing the Colts in there. I'm not throwing one of the other teams you said. But I mean, listen, we'll start with Mahomes. Then we'll go to, like I said, because he was just in a Super Bowl. Plus, he came back from a major season-ending injury and performed at such a high level. You got to throw Joe Burrow in there. Justin Herbert's in there. Josh Allen's in there. Lamar Jackson's in there. You're continually going against these in the AFC. You stack rank your quarterbacks. You've got a laundry list of where you can put, even take the top 5. NFC, not the same. Rodgers, Stafford, fill in the rest.
Yeah.
Because you can make arguments for everybody else. So, I mean, Rodgers was smart in his decision, but we knew he was an intelligent man. And right now, though, I go back to my original statement. Getting paid $153 million in guaranteed money over the next 4 years, you have to win 2 Super Bowls.
Okay, so let me push it down to Jake real quick, because Eric just segued into another, I guess, lens of this, right? I'm on the side of the argument that quarterbacks are judged way too harshly on wins and losses, right? I think they get too much credit and too much blame. But that is the world we live in, and Tom Brady has made it difficult on everybody. Winning at the rate he did, now every quarterback is expected to win at a high rate. Even the rate that Mahomes is winning at right now, right? Like his basement has been the AFC Championship game.
Pretty much.
Rodgers is now signed for 4 more years, Jake. What makes these 4 years successful? I mean, at what point is 13 wins in the season not enough, right?
See, this is where fans have to come into play. 13 is not enough because they do want a Super Bowl. But one of the issues that they have right now is the fact that, I mean, I know what they did with the cap, but what will they, at the end, remember that Aaron Rodgers has had to play, he's 38 years old right now. He's had to absolutely play hero ball for a lot of those years. They have 13 wins because of him. How do we know his body won't fall apart during those years? In those 4 years, how do we know? I mean, and this isn't here's the thing about Aaron Rodgers. And we were talking about I'll tell you this, Eric, we know he's not an intelligent guy. I'll counter up with that. Here's the thing. He was an absolute jerk and an absolute prick before all this. The way he treated his family, everything like this. I kind of laughed at the idea that they waited for this to show how unintelligent he was. So they waited for the whole situation. He's always been this way. But one of the biggest things right now we got to see is what will they do with if they lowered their cap, what will they do with all this now? He's still running for his life. He's still absolutely running for his life. He's still having to play hero ball. He is well past the age he needs to play hero ball. The one thing about Stafford, you brought up Stafford earlier. He was able to go get weapons and after all these years, able to get some weapons in LA. You know, they could absolutely get down the field at will. And after all the years of Detroit where he had to play hero ball for a miserable franchise. So what will they do in Green Bay now? It's like, it's more than the regular season now. You literally need, it's more than just a home field advantage. You need more. And I'm happy for Tyler. I'm happy for Tyler because it can always get worse. I mean, when fans get frustrated, it can always get worse. You have something there. You could be 13 wins to 6 in a hurry. So I'm happy for Tyler that he was able to get that. But what is Green Bay going to do to try to finish this off? And you're right, by the way, that it's going to take 2 Super Bowls to pay this off.
Well, just to touch on that real quick, the Rams went all in for Matthew Stafford to get a ring. That's what they did. Tampa a couple of years ago when they got Tom Brady, they went all in to get Tom Brady and the Bucs a ring. I think the Packers, like to your point, Jacob, I see what you're saying about the hero ball of Aaron Rodgers. I think this team's a lot more balanced than people give them credit for on offense. I think Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon can run the rock. I think we're starting to see A.J. Dillon break out. This offensive line's going to be fine. I mean, besides Billy Turner, they're able to just go draft someone and plug him in. David Bakhtiari didn't play for a full season last year. He's the best left left tackle in football. He's coming back. He'll be healthy. So they're going to run the ball better next season. And I think Aaron Rodgers is actually going to be quite protected. To me, the question is what they can do in the draft. Can they go and they bolster that defense? Because they're going to lose a lot of pieces in the draft. But once again, the Rams were in a different situation in which they didn't have any draft capital to go out and get guys. They had to go sign guys. The Packers are in a different situation. They already got their pieces back. Now they just need to go and hit home runs in these drafts.
So let me get down here.
I was going to say, Tyler, from that divisional game, wasn't Bakhtiari healthy enough to play?
So he should have played in that game. Like they sat him at the last second, and he should have played in that game. And the same situation happened with Tampa the year before, John. Bakhtiari didn't play in that game, and we were really missing him in that game as well. A lot of people talk about Aaron Rodgers in that game and if he blew it or not. And I've heard Ray Lynn's points on it, and I actually agree with Ray Lynn. Weather permitted kind of got San Francisco to play their style of football in that game. And instead of blaming Aaron Rodgers in that game, we could also blame the special teams in that game. And we could blame the special teams from years prior if we look at the Brandon Bostic onside botch. I mean, they've made so many mistakes. They got to get better on their special teams. But guess what? They just brought in Rich as a special team coordinator from the Las Vegas Raiders. So I think they're already taking strides towards that.
So let me get down here to John and Bryce. And now with Green Bay committing to Aaron Rodgers for another 4 years, and Jake touched on this, how much worse does this make the Jordan Love pick now?
Makes it ugly. Very ugly is how I can describe it. It just made an awkward situation more awkward.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in the same boat. It obviously makes it look really bad. It's one of those things where they kind of have to move him at this point. You're already starting to hear Jordan Love trade rumors. We live in a league that, even though he may not be working in Green Bay, a lot of coaching staff feel like they're good enough to say, hey, if we put him in our system with our coaches and our organization, maybe we can get something out of him. So I think that's probably the best thing for Green Bay to do right now is try to cut some bait, got to make a trade and let him go somewhere else and maybe see if maybe he can still become something in the league. But yeah, for them currently, it looks terrible for them to make that pick because, like Rodgers said, you drafted a guy who's not even going to help us. And he was very much dead on about that.
A bad pick in the beginning is starting to look worse.
Yeah, and I have to piggyback off that. When this move was made, a lot of people were skeptical about it. Well, apparently all the skepticism was correct. This was not a pick that was supposed to flourish. It was supposed to be the next, and clearly it has not, because what Green Bay is saying basically to the organization and to the fans is Aaron Rodgers is our guy, and we will bend over backwards, literally, figuratively, and just back the truck up to his front door with whatever that man wants. He wanted Randall Cobb. He got Randall Cobb. He wanted this money. He got this money. But now, Mr. 13-3, Mr. two-time reigning back-to-back MVP, you got two things you need to do this year alone. Number one, beat San Francisco. And number two, get to Arizona for Super Bowl 57 and win. Because $153 million in guaranteed money. Man, we got to see it. We know what he's capable of. We know what he can do. He's proven it during the regular season. But he has two major mountains to climb. Beat San Fran and get to the Super Bowl.
And beat San Fran in the playoffs, to be clear. Not just beat, because they can beat them in the regular season. Let's just be honest.
All right.
But beat them in the playoffs, yes.
Beat them in the playoffs.
And we're going to wrap it up here shortly. But on that same question, again, Jake was the one who brought Jordan Love to the forefront in the conversation earlier. But I'm looking here, Tyler, immediately after Jordan Love, Patrick Queen, a lot of good running backs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, DeAndre Swift, T. Higgins, and Michael Pittman win. And everybody talks about Green Bay needing weapons. So as the fan, I'm sure you guys weren't necessarily happy about the Jordan Love pick. But now looking that, I guess the plan was to draft his heir apparent. And that isn't happening anytime soon. And it must be something that Jordan Love has not shown that organization to make them feel like they can move forward. So again, hindsight being what it is now, how much worse is that? I'm coming. I see you, Jake.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually quite worse. And I was never happy with that pick. Obviously, almost all Packers fans felt like that was a wasted pick. We all wanted T. Higgins because we brought him in before that draft 4 different times. We looked at him. So T. Higgins was supposed to be the pick for them. Aaron Rodgers was upset because that's what he thought as well. So that was the big, oof on Brian Gutekunst's part. But now I think we're looking at, Jordan Love's probably going to get moved, obviously, as Bryce indicated. Teams are interested. I think Atlanta actually has shown some interest in Jordan Love as well. So I think, the big thing is just trying to move Jordan Love out of the picture now. So now we're starting to field calls. Hopefully we can get a draft pick for him and we can move him out of the situation, bring in maybe an undrafted quarterback or, stick with one of these guys that we had in the practice squad last year, like Kirk Bankert or something.
Yeah.
What you got, Jake?
Well, one of the things also is I'm one of the rare breeds of people that have seen. I had a weird absorption of sports from a very young age, like 6 years old. So I'm one of the rare ones that have seen through the Bears-Packers rivalry. I actually saw the Bears dominate in the first parts of my life, which is funny. But the one biggest part I also saw is I saw 7 different quarterbacks before Brett Favre. I'm one of the rare ones that has seen that. So the one thing that I understand why the Packers did this is because they had some misery at quarterback before Favre. Then all of a sudden after Favre, you had Rodgers. So you've had 30 years of 2 quarterbacks. They want to be careful now because it takes one mistake. It takes absolutely one mistake and you become the Bears as far as choosing quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. You've become this. And so I see this whole point, but it's like at the same time with them, with the Packers, I have a true belief that they're going to absolutely have to, we talked about the protection of Aaron Rodgers. They're going to have to do something like this so they can be able to win because I don't know if he can hold up physically the way Brady did and all that kind of stuff. He's going to be turning 40 years old sooner than later.
Well, listen, folks, we appreciate y'all tuning in with us. Sports Arena, Sideline Sports family, all combined, and just to get the live look in reaction of everyone's thoughts as Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers agreed to a 4-year, $200 million deal with $153 guaranteed. I don't know how many of us saw that coming. Sideline Sports, Sports Arena. Catch us later.